We are writers. This is the declaration or the text of 134 Iranian writers. We are writers, but problems which have arisen in the contemporary history of our society as well as other societies have distorted the image of the writer in the eyes of the state, certain sectors of society, and even in the eyes of the writers themselves. Consequently, the identity of the writer, the nature of his or her work, and even the collective presence of writers have all been subjected to undue attack. It is our duty, therefore, as writers of Iran, to explain the nature of writing as a cultural enterprise and the reason for our collective presence. We are writers. By this, we mean that we write our feelings, imagination, thoughts, and scholarship in various forms and publish them. It is our natural, social, and civil right to see that our writing, be it poetry or fiction or drama or film script, research or criticism, or the translation of works written by other writers of the world, reach the public in a free and unhampered manner. It is now within the capacity of any person or organization. It's not within the capacity of any person or organization to create obstacles for the publication of these works under whatever pretext these may be. Free judgment and criticism, however, are open for all after the publication of such works. When the struggle against the obstacles of writing and publishing exceeds our individual power and capacity, there remains no other alternative for us except to encounter these difficulties in a collective, professional manner. In other words, in order to achieve freedom of thought, expression, and publication, and in order to campaign against censorship, we have to exert our efforts together. We believe, therefore, that our collective presence with the aim of creating a professional writers' association of Iran is the guarantee of our individual independence. Because a writer should be free in the creation of his or her work, his or her cooperation and agreement with the common problems of all writers do not mean that he or she should be held responsible for the individual problems of other writers. Similarly, the responsibility of personal, political, and social thoughts and actions of each writer belong only to that particular writer. Nevertheless, the writer here is looked upon not because of his profession as a writer, but because of his alleged association or assumed connection with parties, groupings, or factions. Judgment is passed upon him or her on the basis of these assumptions. As a result, it seems that the collective presence of writers in a cultural professional organization will be seen as equivalent to membership in a political party or advocacy of a particular political agenda. Governments and their dependent institutions and groupings customarily evaluate a writer's work on the basis of their bureaucratic mechanisms and policies, relying upon the arbitrary tools they attribute to the collective. Then I will stop because I think that it will take a long time. Thank you so much. Thank you. خیلی متشکرم. خیلی ممنون.
با عرض معذرت واقعا سخت‌ترین کاری است که به من واگذار شده و من متاسفم که باید دوستان همکاران عزیز رو کوتاه کنم، نذارم که صحبتشون رو کنن. آنچه که در ایران میگذره طبیعتاً ما زنان و مردان نسل‌های مختلف در اون شرکت دارن و ما فکر کردیم که در این پنل هم ما به نوعی نمایندگی نسل‌ها رو داشته باشیم. ما از نسل‌های مختلف در اینجا نشستیم، از من شروع میشه تا بقیه و طبیعتاً امروز یک سخنران دیگری داریم که در مورد جوانان صحبت میکنن، خودشون از نسل جدید، خانم غزاله مجدهی. خیلی مفتخرم ایشون رو معرفی کنم. حقوقدان هستن که دوره تحصیلات حقوقشون رو جوریس دکتر در دانشکده حقوق دانشگاه میشیگان در زمینه مطالعات قانون اساسی و مربوط به حقوق بشر انجام دادن با رده عالی کوملاد که خیلی بسیار افتخار بالایی است در دانشکده‌های حقوق. قبل از آن تحصیلات دانشگاهی خودشون در همین دانشگاه در دانشگاه یورک انجام دادن و پرزیدنت ایرانیان استودنت اسوسییشن بودن و اخیراً من خوشحالم که ایشون به شهر اصلی خودشون تورنتو برگشتن و خانم مجدهی خواهش میکنم شما صحبت کنید.
خیلی ممنون دکتر راهنما. میخواستم تشکر کنم از دکتر مقیسی و دکتر راهنما واسه این برنامه. من ببخشید بعد به انگلیسی صحبت کنم. The youth generation of Iran after the 1979 revolution don't necessarily have the same memories of torture and mass killings that their predecessors reminisce. But yet, during the past 30 years, they have been continually struggling against a government that does not give them the equal rights or basic human rights. These individuals have been fighting to establish a secular democratic society within Iran. And as we witnessed during this past few months, since June 12th, the movements were mostly orchestrated by one woman and second, the youth of Iran. And these individuals fought bravely and courageously to have their voice heard in the political arena and also to have equal rights. One thing that made me very optimistic as I witnessed these, watching them on TV, was that there was a unity, an alliance, an internal relationship, a dynamic, if you would, between the different social groups within Iran. It wasn't so much about the secular versus the religious, but it was about the people and the government that does not represent them. The fear, the anger that people had and the frustration that they had with the government led them to these movements. As many of you are aware, 70% of the population of Iran are under the age of 30, and 50% are under the age of 24. Now, if we just think about those numbers, they are certainly very significant, not only understanding the movements that take place within Iran and has been in the last 30 years, but also these youth play an integral role in shaping the future of Iran. After 30 years of suppression and distorted elections, these youth continue their struggle with the regime. And as we witnessed, they fought against the regime and tried to have their voices heard, only to be beaten back by the Basijis. It's important to note that the Basijis have no authority, no official authority, that is. They are just basically a group of volunteer militia who are ordered by the supreme leader to impose his will on the unwilling. And there lies a very big problem within the core of the Islamic regime, and that is not only the Iranians are suffering under the imposition of the Islamic regime and Islamic laws, but there simply is no law. There is no law that would protect individuals in the streets who are peacefully demonstrating, and there are no laws that would hold these Basijis accountable for their human rights. And I think that is extremely something that we should all be concerned about. As I watched these demonstrations, I couldn't help but picture myself amongst these individuals fighting for human rights. And yet I remember of Iran very vaguely, and I know of Iran mostly through what I have read or seen or through education. And that brings such agony to me because I wish that our generation, my generation in particular, knew of an Iran more than a government ruled by clerics. And I wish that other people would know of the rich history and culture that we have shared and not just know the history during the 30 years that we've had the Islamic government in power.